What's going on, everyone? So at the end of episode 6 of season 3 of From, we got a bombshell, and that is that Tabitha has been connected to Fromville dating back to when she was a little girl. And there is all kinds of theories, directions, ideas. I want to make like 15 videos about different possibilities, different ideas. So join the discussion down in the comments below. But in this video in particular, because again, we're going to talk about reincarnation. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff as we approach the upcoming episode. But in this video in particular, I want to talk about the Tabitha as well as Miranda appear to have visions at the same time. Because beyond Tabitha being somebody that had vivid dreams, or what she relays as nightmares when she was a little girl, that she used to have the same nightmare over and over again as a little girl, where she sees not Fromville, but the village. Now, could we unpack and learn more that maybe she did learn and see things of Fromville? But no, for right now, we only know the little village with the little, statues and then the red rocks. So Jade is all lost in these numbers and trying to figure out these numbers and enlist Tabitha and Ethan. Ethan is now helping him kind of try to solve these puzzles. And you see Tabitha look up and pick up this drawing that Jade has made. And she all of a sudden has these flashbacks to when she was a little girl, to where she was having visions of Fromville. She says, I've been connected to this place since I was a child, right? And I find this incredibly fascinating because Miranda had visions, right? So now Tabitha realizes, oh, I've had visions like Miranda, right? I too was just like Miranda. I just didn't realize it at the time. And Tabitha earlier talks about and gives us a time frame for when Miranda roughly had the visions. And she says that we're trusting the word of a dead woman who had visions 40 years ago. So 40 years is our time frame. 40 years is kind of our template to go off of as far as like how long ago has it been. Now, a couple questions about that, because we have to be honest about it, right? Is 40 years the exact date, or is it kind of a roundabout? Because that's a big difference, right? Like, for example, if it's 36 years, and it's just like she doesn't know exactly, and she's like, it's been 40 years, right? Well, then that changes things. Right? So is it kind of a roundabout, or is that the actual time frame? It's been about 40 years. She says 40 years. Now, the actress who plays Tabitha, Catalina, she is 43 years old. We don't know how old Tabitha is in Fromville, right? We know Julie is, over 18. So unless Tabitha ended up having her at 15, 16, which is possible, then chances are that Tabitha would have been likely around, 4 to 7 range, depending on when Miranda actually started having the visions. Because there's several things that you kind of use to deduce your conclusions here, right? Like, 1, again, how old is Tabitha? 2, is 40 years the exact time frame? Also, is that the time she started having the visions? How long was it before she went to Fromville? Was it weeks? Was it days? Was it months? Was it years? Right? If she had visions for 3 years before she finally made that leap to Fromville, right? That changes the time frame. But let's go under the assumption that it was roughly 40 years ago. Let's assume that Tabitha is roughly the same age as the actress that portrays her. So you're talking about an actress that is 43, 44 years old. So it would make sense and add up to the time in which the little girl that we saw. And the reason I find this very important and fascinating is because it is very possible that not only did Miranda start having visions of Fromville, but Tabitha also had visions of Fromville at the same time. And I think that that is something that we very likely might find out. That might be something that we actually discover, that they had visions essentially maybe even the same day, which I think is even more fascinating because Miranda was chosen, right? And up until this point, we've been led down the belief that there were all these chosen in line, right? And they all failed. And now Tabitha is the new chosen, destined to hopefully be the one to succeed. And if you've ever seen the show Supernatural, this is how I've made the comparison with the chosen, right? There's the prophets in Supernatural. And heads up, I'm going to spoil some stuff here in Supernatural. Nothing like major, but, just the prophet story arc, right? Well, in Supernatural, you have a prophet. Kevin Tran is a great example that many people may be familiar with, right? Well, when one prophet dies, a new one takes its place. And all the angels know all of the prophets from the beginning of time to the end of time, right? They've all been seared in their brains. And when one prophet dies, ping, a new one sparks. A new one comes to life, right? That's kind of how it was led up until this point for us to believe that Miranda died and Tabitha took over as the prophet. Tabitha is the new prophet in the long line of prophets dating back to minimum the 1500s, right? Well, now, if what is true, and she really did have visions, well, that would lead me to believe that they both must have been prophets at roughly the same time, or became prophets roughly at the same time. Maybe you have to reach a certain age before Fromville as a prophet will bring you along. Now, and don't worry, I am going to make a video about this. Like I said, I have several videos planned diving into different theories and ideas about this because I find this incredibly fast. There's so many directions they could go with this. This is another proof or evidence. I wouldn't really say proof, but evidence that Tabitha is Eloise. Okay? And again, I will do a full video about it. I already see the comments. I'm getting a lot of comments from people that were like, you're right. The theory's right. All that stuff. I'm here for it. I love it. Right? We'll save that for another video. Believe me, that video is coming. Like I said, I have several videos, but I want to stick, because I think this is important to get across first before we dive into the theories about it, right? Because this is probably the most likely, if I'm being honest, for one, and two, just based on the new information we have, right? We know that Tabitha, we got the time frame, we got kind of the relay. Tabitha was having visions roughly the same time in which Miranda likely was having visions. So there is that connection there. Now, are those visions memories? Or are those visions actual, visions? Were they nightmares? Or did she live it and she just remembers them as nightmares? I mean, Victor suppressed a lot, right? So these are things that I think are we're going to start, we're starting to unravel some of these mysteries here, right? Got some new information on Fatima. I did a video on Victor recently and him being off limits. And, now you're seeing Tabitha and new information being discovered about Tabitha and how her and Miranda were having visions. And now Tabitha, she wasn't having visions about Fromville, the town itself. It looks like she was having visions of the village. Once again, maybe we'll get some new information in the next episode, and maybe it does spark more memories, and maybe she did have visions of Fromville, right? But we know as of right now, currently, that she's that she had visions of the red rocks and the statues and the village in which all the food and the crops were, which I imagine that Tabitha and Jim, because Jim knows where it's at, because Jim was the person that discovered it, that I imagine Tabitha and Jim probably now go on an adventure to that village and try to spark Tabitha's memories and try to spark Tabitha's minds. Is that also why the Ankui kids are so after her? Right? What if she was a part of Fromville? Right? I'm telling you, we got a ton of stuff to talk about when it comes to this. I'm going to try to sprinkle out the videos so they're not all like back to back to back to back. But I'm excited. I hope you are. As always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you think Tabitha is having visions at the same time as Miranda? Do you think, like, nah, it's definitely different times? What kind of theories and ideas do you have? Like I said, I have a whole list of theories. I'm going to go over several of them with this story arc in particular, because this new information I think is very interesting. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, again, how you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Helps me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.